Well, as if I needed more distractions from the cafe racer, I need to change my rear tire. But I got a little distracted at Harbor Freight earlier today, and I bought a Harbor Freight portable tire changer and the accompanying motorcycle tire changer attachment. So welcome to the Urban Monk TV Harbor Freight motorcycle tire changer tool review thingy dingy thing. Alright, so what's in the box? Tire changer first. Doesn't look like too much assembly required here. But then again, we're kind of into assembly. I can see my first concern is going to be, what am I mounting this to so that it has any sort of stability? And I can see they addressed that question right away here. And number 5, at this point the assembled base should be mounted to the selected floor surface, such as a wood pallet or concrete floor, using blah blah blah, mounting holes, blah blah blah. So I'm going to have to come up with some kind of stable base for this thing. I don't have a pallet, and I do not feel like permanently mounting this into any of my concrete, so I might have to build something. So not a whole lot in the box. You've got your center post and assembly there. You got your mounting and demounting rod, and the base is wrapped up in cardboard, and just a little bit of hardware to put that base together, and well, to put the whole thing together. So simple. Well, so first assembly is just a couple of bolts, and this thing needs to go diagonally mounted like that, with this assembly pointing toward the same side as the bead breaker section here, for lack of a better way to put it. So, get these guys together. And the only tools I need so far are a couple 17mm wrenches. I've opted to use a socket and ratchet here. Forgot my nuts. I'm going to go ahead and throw a short extension on my ratchet so I can reach in, because you've got a recess here. I think you could do it with a wrench, but it's going to be much slower. Alright, step 1 done. So then we've got these two side posts, and they go, you know, one here and one on the other side. First thing I noticed is that these holes are drilled equidistant on either side. So that means there is no right and wrong way to orient this. So just pick one. Washer goes on the bottom down by the nut. And so far, I have not needed the second wrench to hold this side, but I still have it around, and probably would recommend that you do too. Pretty easy. Not very stable without something tying it down. So a couple of first thoughts. This bottom plate is not exactly flat, and as you torque this down, that's not a stable thing. So as the instructions say, you need to mount this to something else. And first thing I've noticed is they do not provide any hardware for mounting this to anything else. So 1, 2, 3, 4 fasteners of some kind fastening it to something are required and not in the box. So there's that. I don't think that was a big surprise to me, and probably won't be to a lot of you, but it's worth mentioning. You need additional consideration here to use it. Okay, so I built a base for this thing. The instructions say that you can obviously mount it straight into the concrete, and that's an option if you want to do that. I don't. The other option that they recommend is to mount it to a pallet, and that would be, I think, a pretty good option. I don't have quick, easy access to pallets. I've got them at work, but I work an hour from home. I don't want to put one in my car. I don't even want to drive my car to work. I like to ride my motorcycle. So I built this thing, and what I didn't want was a full pallet footprint of 40 by 48 inches. So I went ahead with 4 feet long, but only 2 feet wide for the platform. But I went ahead and ran a 2x4 down the middle of this thing to make a little bit more stable. And this sticks out another 9 inches. So I don't know. This is what I've done. It seems pretty dang solid. I think that'll work. And then the bead breaker, you can mount this in 2 different settings. Because I'm doing motorcycle tires, which will be lower, I'm going to use the lower of the 2 sets of holes here, or mounting positions. And it's just a pin and a retaining clip. Simple. Boom. Of course I own a bead breaker, but now I got 2 bead breakers. So this thing's pretty much ready to do car tires, car and truck tires at this point, but that's not what I bought it for. So now for motorcycle tires you have to have this additional attachment. Comes with more instructions. Quite a bit more hardware to this. Well, here, I'll get the pieces laid out and I'll show you what's in this box. So here's pretty much everything in the box. In fact, not pretty much. This is everything that was in the box. And it's just various clamps and support tubes, and essentially you make a triangular clamping mechanism out of all of this with a big spindle down the middle for the go through the middle of your motorcycle bearing, or the hub, the wheel hub. So let's see, this is essentially what's in the box. Let me get to work putting this together. So we got to put this thing from the motorcycle changing assembly onto here. So this piece comes off, and so does this piece. These 2 are for car and truck tires. And then this thing threads right down on here. And supposed to just secure it with one of these big nuts. Ouch. Some sharp plastic here, so the mold on this plastic is not very good. It's didn't cut me, but it just about did. I don't know. That's nitpicking, I guess. Maybe I should have gloves on. Just something I noticed. I'm not all that bent out of shape about it. Next thing is this adjustable arm. Curiously, there's no washers Just nuts and bolts. I don't know, it seems odd to me to not have a washer there, but I'm just going to finger tighten this for now. So that goes there, and then there are two others that go here and here. Get these on here. So then you have two wheel clamps, and one of them is already on here. This is the adjustable one, as evidenced by this all thread, I'll call it. So I'm assuming these orient the same way, and I don't really have to assume, that's the way the instructions show them. And then there's two pins and some retaining clips for these. I'm just gonna kind of randomly choose a spot for now. I have my wheel. Kind of clumsy and awkward to move these, so I can already see where if I was dealing with different size wheels, moving this stuff is, you know, certainly functional. Things are very strong here, but it's a little awkward. Just having to, there's nothing to grab here really. I don't know. Could be improved. So I keep adjusting the camera higher and higher because this thing keeps building higher and higher. The next thing is this center support. And I can see a problem with this already, which is, does that fit through the bearing, you know, where the axle shaft on my wheel goes? It's really thick diameter. Let me get the diameter on this. I'm curious. I'll do this in inches since I assume those of you using the metric system are not shopping at Harbor Freight. Yeah, this is an inch. 1 inch diameter. I don't believe my axle shafts are 1 inch in diameter. So that means wheel bearing removal? Not convenient. Let's see. Alright, so right now the wheels on my V-Strom are mounted to my bike and I'm not ready to take it off yet. But I've got my Cafe Racer Project wheels here from my GS 550. You know, the axle shaft here is similar in diameter, and so that is essentially 2/3 of an inch in diameter. So there's no way this wheel, and frankly I'm just judging by eye here, but I don't think the diameter of the inside of my wheel bearings on my V-Strom are much bigger. They're certainly not a whole inch. So I mean, this is just simply not going to work for me. I'm not going to pull my wheel bearings every single time I want to do a tire. So right here, I'm at ultimate fail. I haven't even got the thing all together, and I've had it with this thing. This is quite disappointing, frankly. So now I gotta see, can I machine my own rod, or do I just want to take this whole thing back to Harbor Freight? Threw away the box for the bottom one already. Not happy. Did keep my receipt though. I purchased the 2-piece tire changer system for motorcycles. So you got the regular base, which is for car and truck tires, and then you add the motorcycle attachment. And I assembled the base and discarded the box for the first piece, but have it all here. And then I began assembling the motorcycle attachment and realized that the motorcycle attachment just is designed in a way to where it's completely impractical because you're forced to remove the wheel bearings every single time you change a tire with this. And that's not practical, and no one's going to want to do that, but I certainly am not. So your colleague said... All right, well, thank you for your help. Okay, thank you. I'll return them tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, so to Harbor Freight's credit, my local store, the manager said that I can return this because she agreed that if it's not going to work for me for the motorcycle changing, then this piece isn't really of value to me either. So she agreed to take it back. I don't have the box, and so she's letting me bring this back assembled, and you know, so good for them. They're standing by their product. Was it a time waster for me? Yeah. I spent some money on this base, not a lot, about $22, but I don't need that base now. So a little bit frustrating, and I just hope that this is helpful, that you guys know that if you want to do motorcycle tires without removing the bearings every single time, this is not the machine for you. Unless, of course, the inside diameter of your wheel bearings is over an inch. Can't think of what bike would have that. So let me end this review here and say that if you're like me and you don't feel like replacing your wheel bearings every single time you do a tire, which is ridiculous, this is not the machine for you. It's certainly not the machine for me. So I guess I'm done here with this review. Hey, if you like what I'm doing, I've got a Cafe Racer build of a 1978 GS 550 that I'm building. Big long series every step of the way. And then I also do V-Strom maintenance on the first generation DL 1000, although a lot of that applies to the DL 650 also, and frankly a whole bunch of other motorcycles out there. Click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.